The LA Knight thing is spot on. I just think what modern wrestling is all about. I think it's what modern wrestling is all about, and no one cares. Too bad, because he's obviously good. He just needs to be original. I guess we'll address that shortly as well. Kevin, you were in the news a lot this week. Yet again.
But not... you
didn't run into a burning building and save anybody.
But. No, but it's always because they don't understand. They don't know me. They don't understand me when I say something. There's no background. It's just they take what you say, and 9 times out of 10, they didn't watch the show. They didn't hear me say it on the show. So it's hearsay of what I said, and then they're saying, well, he buried, the LA Knight guy. Okay, now, number one, since we're here, I'm going to go ahead and just address this. Number one, I have never in my life seen that character on television. Okay? So the first time I see him is I watch it's the go home for Money in the Bank, and he walks out and he cuts that promo. And I was just like, okay, this is a rib, right? And then it's not. It's just what the character is. And I'm like, is that? So I get hot, and then I come on TV and I say, you got to be kidding me, right? But then they say, well, you buried the guy. I didn't say he couldn't work. I've never seen him in the ring. I didn't say he couldn't throw a punch. I just said it wasn't very original. And then I get back, like I look at my Twitter feed just to see, and it was just also negative. So all I do is, it's just this simple. You're on my Twitter feed and you're giving me shit. I just block you. I'm not going to respond to you. Like one guy said something. He said, "Oh yeah," he said, "You're a copy of Big John Studd." And I said, "Oh, come on, man. You can't tell me I didn't have better hair than John Studd." That was like my only response to anybody. I mean, it was just like, and
this is the LA Knight discussion. I just want to remind everyone this is the LA Knight discussion portion of the show.
Yes.
So Kevin didn't go up on the roof, but instead he...
No, so I've never seen the guy work, and I just said what I said. But then when I thought about it after the show was over, I said, I can't, anytime you bash one of the boys, he's still, I don't know, but he's still one of the boys. And then I thought, well, the worst case scenario is that somebody will say I bashed him, and then like if he's over, then the people will be like, well, we like him anyway, and they'll push him harder. Like, well, we'll show you, and the people will get with him more. So Monday
night, this was a covert plan to get him pushed.
Absolutely. I think, how am I possibly, is it, somebody said like, once again, these old wrestlers are holding, we're holding them down as much as you're sitting in your fucking living room getting them pushed. You have, I know you think you guys count, you don't. Okay? All I do know is when I was asked to pick somebody, I said Damian Priest, and lo and behold, who won the Money in the Bank?
We talked last week. We went through the roster.
I guess I'm not. Yeah, I guess I'm not as out of it as it appears. But so I say to myself, all right. So I'm gonna I've taken the backlash of talking about this guy impersonating The Rock. And I said, let me watch him. I watched for 3 fucking hours. He's not on the show. I'm like, Well, what's all the? I swear to Seth freaking Rollins wrestled 13 times. Damian Priest was on it 11. Like they had so many people that made 4 and 5 appearances, and this guy that's super over isn't on the show. And I went. So then before, so today I just like I, I Google him and I'm like, okay, is he hurt? What's going on? And he in Cardiff or wherever he goes, like he comes out in his gear before somebody's else's match and says he retires. And I'm like, oh God, man.
I
Like,
said, Kev, you got to watch where you point that thing.
yeah, I said, but it was just it was a work.
Yeah, yeah.
He worked with Mysterio. He worked with Ray that night and did the job to somebody that's getting ready to retire. But
He addressed the Rock comparisons on Cheap Heat radio or podcast and said, quote, this was comparisons to The Rock, and also Stone Cold, I guess. If you want to make that comparison, cool. My aim is to be bigger and better than either of them. I bring a very different package to the table than they do. At the same time, are there similarities? Sure, there are. There is Kobe to Jordan. Those kind of comparisons. If you want to make me the Kobe to their Jordan, I'll take it. Now, is
right,
that, I mean, he's working heel here, right?
I
Because
can't. Well,
this
I mean,
is
but
in no way a comparison.
I just have to say this that I played basketball. You know, I was a basketball player, and I promise you that if I put on a pair of Jordans and a Kobe Bryant jersey and walk through the mall, I'm not going to have their game. So I just want to make that perfectly clear that and then somebody said, oh, your best friend impersonated Tony Montana's Scarface. Okay.
Wasn't a wrestler, though.
Pretty original idea. You know, pretty original idea. You take somebody from a motion picture and make him a wrestling character. Now, if somebody did Razor Ramon's character right now,
Right. That's
it,
the apples to
that's
apples comparison right there.
yes. It's like, and I'm sorry, man. But they're like Nash. What has Nash done? Well, I'll tell you something right now. I don't know L.A. Knight. I don't. But I guarantee you one thing.
You impersonate Big John Studd. I know
I
that.
guarantee you that he's on a guaranteed contract. I promise you that.
Oh, so you're saying some of the residual effects of having a Nash come
Of,
before you.
Of having Mr. Nash.
AKA Big
So
John Studd. Yeah.
yeah. Well, I mean, I just like to be called Stud.
I'd like to be
But
called Big just once, like Joe Pesci said. I wish I was big just once.
so it's just like, you know what? I'm not gonna apologize because I think it's a blatant ripoff. But I didn't mean any harm. I haven't seen the guy work. Please don't just to appease me. Do a Tiger Driver because no matter how Kenny Omega wants to dissect that, I took 2 courses, two semesters of physics in college, and once you start the gravitational component of anything, you can't correct it. So if your top of your skull is 8 inches from the canvas and the guy's already let go of you, you can't adjust. There's no adjusting. So All you can do is turn into it more, so you get a better chance of blowing the disc out of your neck. So, like I said, I really enjoy watching Kenny work. So I mean, I would hope that he doesn't do that again. But I've
Yeah,
also heard Kenny tell a lot of people in the last couple of months he doesn't know how much longer he's going to be doing this. So
well, I want to bring up what Kenny said in a minute, but I don't want to get off the LA Knight thing. There was an editorial piece. Did you read the op-ed piece from Cage Side Seats? It was by a M. Gomez. Um, I don't want to read the whole article, but
and
it
I'm sorry, where did he work at?
Cage Side Seats.
No, I mean
Oh, as a wrestler, you
yeah.
mean?
What was his working name?
Well, let's click him here. Let's go in. He's a contributor. Previous work, he wrote for the Sportster, sports anchor for Double X Sports Radio in San Diego, and he enjoys the
Enjoys
time of his
dining
life
in
in
and
and out
out.
and
So,
Point
but
Break.
he's never been in the ring.
It's not listed in his credits if he was.
Okay, all right. So
So,
he's he's going to tell Dale Earnhardt what it's like to be in a car going 190
well,
miles.
but you know what? You cannot be in a film but be critical of the film, or not be a
Not if you
baseball
tell, not if,
player.
not if you're telling me I'm wrong.
Well, let's see here. Let's see what he says here.
But he's actually saying Big Diesel is wrong.
Big John Stud, please. As a contributor and reader of this site, it
Big
would be
John
easy
Studd was never world champion.
to dismiss this story by saying it doesn't matter what Kevin Nash thinks. Instead, I'm sitting here going, what? For those of you that missed it or need a refresher, here's what Nash, a.k.a. Big Daddy Cool Diesel, had to say about WWE's fast-rising star. Quote, am I the only one that sees an absolute ripoff of The Rock, to the point where he cut the promo on effing Logan Paul or whatever the F his name is, and he said, yeah, stick it. The only thing that he didn't do was turn the mother sideways. Jesus Christ, what does everybody have, amnesia? There's nothing original. Oh man, his promo, his effing promos. Finally, LA Knight has come back as a white guy. I popped. Before I dissect Nash's comments, I must ask, can anyone not see the blatant similarities between Knight, Steve Austin, and The Rock? If someone asked me to describe LA Knight, I'd say if Stone Cold had a baby with The Rock, it would be LA Knight. Now, whether being a ripoff is a bad thing,
That's very woke.
the two guys having the child.
Yes, I didn't know anybody actually believed that a
Yeah.
man could give birth.
It's such so that this site is blocked in Florida. DeSantis has cut
I mean, it
all
should be.
internet access.
It should be.
Um, let's go. Oh, here we
Taking
go.
inspiration from others.
Whether being a ripoff is a bad thing is something I'll get to in a minute, but I don't understand the intention here, especially when one remembers how Nash spent almost his entire career surrounded by such exquisite knockoffs of Billy Graham, Ric Flair, Harley Race, The Crow, and Scarface Tony Montana, to your point.
So right, the Crow,
Again, a film.
a comic book / movie character, and so that you have to bring both Scott and Steve Borden brought life to a entity that was not a professional wrestler. So that should to that I tip my hat.
Gotcha. It says, while creating an authentic character is most favorable, taking inspiration from others isn't the worst thing a wrestler can do, especially when it leads to something as good or better. There's some interesting words being used with The Rock and LA Knight. As good or better. We'll continue. Give the benefit of the doubt. Thanks,
No, we're
Nature.
done with this guy. We're not giving him another second of airtime.
You don't
He's done.
you don't want to know what.
I don't give. No, I don't, and I don't want to waste another f-bomb on him. So he's done. Thanks a lot. Enjoy your In-N-Out burger. Watch LA Knight. Watch LA Cop. Watch Chicago Fire. Watch whatever you want to watch. I tried to watch the guy last night. Like I said, I watched for 3 hours. Dude didn't show up, so I guess they're gonna wait till whatever the next Raw is, and then he'll come back there.
I just want to give the summary of the article where he thought maybe old Diesel was just talking out of his gas tank,
Wow.
tying into the diesel trucks gas tanks.
Yeah.
See what he did there?
Yeah. Well, see, that's because he doesn't understand that the term diesel was a jack dude, and because a bunch of white people didn't know what that meant, they made me a truck driver, and we and
You started with
I
the
didn't
horn.
start with shit.
Well, the
That was yeah,
creative.
exactly. So
Ah. All right, let's get. You know what?